So welcome everybody. We are absolutely thrilled that you're joining us today for a session of Thriving with Woman to Woman. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rachel Justice, and I co-lead Woman to Woman with my partner, Jillian Levinson. We love our job. We feel very lucky to be here, especially for opportunities like this. I'm going to just read the description of what this group is, because we have such a robust calendar these days that you should, I just want to remind everyone why you're here and why is this group different from the other groups. And then after that, I'm going to be pretty quiet because I will turn the virtual mic over to Audrey, and she will be doing introductions and kind of leading the session with our wonderful guest speaker lineup. So again, this is Thriving with Woman to Woman. And we start our little description with a Maya Angelou quote, which is, "The question is not how to survive, but how to thrive with passion, compassion, humor, and style." I really like that because I do think it sums up what our goal is here. And the purpose of this monthly group is to help you nurture the non-cancer aspects of your life and thrive despite challenges. Navigating a cancer diagnosis and survivorship can feel like a full-time job. It can easily overtake your life and be the lens through which you view all of your experiences and interactions. However, you are extraordinary women with interests, hobbies, passions, fears, dreams, and so much more. You all deserve to feel happy and fulfilled. And I will let Audrey introduce herself, but Audrey, I can't even say co-leader because she's really the leader and I am the sous chef here. But Audrey is one of our fantastic survivor volunteers with Woman to Woman. And she's also the founder of the Hartford Happiness Club, which I assume she will tell you more about. And just to remind people, the format of this group, we alternate. And every other month, there is a wonderful guest speaker like Lionel. And then on the off month, we take the theme that was discussed in the prior month, and we do interactive exercises and sort of really bring it home in a participatory way. So again, huge thanks goes out to Audrey for leveraging her experience, her connections, her enthusiasm, her passion to help start and run this group. And I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Audrey and Lionel.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, everyone, for carving out an hour in your afternoon to be with us with Thriving Women to Women. This is something new that we just basically kicked off a number of months ago, largely because as a cancer survivor myself, 2 years clean and healthy, it was time to reconnect and give back and basically connect with other women who are going through the early stages of gynecological cancer. And there's so much more in our lives than going through the motions of the medical system and our health issues. There is so much more and so many tools in our toolbox that we can learn how to thrive and make choices. And choosing happiness for me has always been forefront. It's been quite a number of years, close to, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years for Lionel Ketchian, who I'm going to introduce as I'm introducing this afternoon, who has been a very key person and instrumental in my life, paving the way to make decisions and choosing happiness, because no one is going to go through life without challenges, without failure and disappointment and health issues and loss. It's how we choose to navigate through and the choices we all make. And for me, gratitude paves the way, along with the connections. And the connections that as we just heard 2-3 minutes ago with Marlene meeting Barbara through the Thriving Women, would never have happened if I didn't meet Lionel. And again, he is one of the most incredible people I've ever met, with the biggest heart and the most wisdom, because we are all lifelong learners and we continue to learn together. And Lionel has offered so many resources for so many people with all the things that he has done with the books he's done and the Zoom-in calls and his Happy You on Monday nights and all the work that he continues to do through pure joy. So rather than me going on and on about Lionel, because you're going to find out in just a minute how wonderful he is, and you're going to want to put him in your back pocket, go to Woodbridge and take him home with you. So let me introduce Lionel Ketchian, the founder, the original founder of the Happiness Club. Thank you, Lionel, and thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you so much for inviting me. Rachel, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And all of you, my heart is feeling this connection. I just love you. First of all, I got to tell you, I love me. I found out I got to love myself. So in loving myself, I have found out that, I really do love you and you're wonderful. And I don't even know you, but that's why we're here. And I want to start with that really it sure is all about love. When we find it in our heart, in our wisdom, in our soul, in our mind, wherever we find it, that's where we can live. And that's regardless of what happens in this world. Because has anybody noticed that we seem to live in a little bit of a crazy world? Anybody ever notice something like that?
Of course.
Well, I'm 78 and I've noticed it along the way. And we've had our little ups and downs or whatever way everybody has. I don't usually talk about this, but if I'm asked to, I do. But I'll just share with you that I am talking from, let's say, your side. Now, I'm not a woman. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that last year I had radiation treatment for 2 months. I went to Yale every day for 2 months during the week. And I had radiation treatments for cancer diagnosis. And then in October, I found out I had to in fact, I had to call Audrey up and say, Audrey, it was a Thursday evening. I think it was March. I'm sorry. It was early. It was a Thursday in October, first Thursday in October. I said, Audrey, I can't go on Zoom with you in your meeting. I have to go to emergency. They're going to do a quadruple bypass on me. She says, go, we got it, go. So life is certainly fast-paced, interesting, challenging, if you like, full of problems, if you wish. I know Barbara Schulman, you've been talking about her. She's wonderful. She does talk about forgiveness, and she does a great job of it. Another aspect she talks about, which is an integral part of forgiveness, is acceptance. And I know that she's been into radical acceptance, which is another way to look at life. You might say I'm into radical acceptance, except that I've taken it a step further for me, and I call it joyful acceptance. And I share that with you. Joyful acceptance, because you ever notice that when something happens, it happened, and there isn't anything you could do about it, but there is something you could do about handling it or responding to it. But if we allow events in our lives and we define them as fearful or upsetting or they shouldn't have happened, that's fine, but that gives us an extra layer of difficulty to deal with. So that's why when I'm talking to you about the benefits of happiness, I've been happy since December 24th, 1990 at around 5 o'clock. So I've learned about the benefits of happy. Now, sharing them with other people can be difficult. Some people don't buy into it. But if the word happiness is offensive to you or you don't, vibrate with it, there is another word that really fits into this equation, and it's focus, what we focus on. So we look over there, that's what we see. We look over there, we see that. If we don't like what we're looking for over there, we can focus on that and that will expand. So I do want to share something with you, and I'm open to questions from you at any time. Just please, if that's okay, please let me clarify anything or expand on something. I'm going to ask Audrey a question. Audrey, and I think people here know that you've been through a couple of things in your life, right? Everybody knows that, right? Okay, so here's my question for you, Audrey. Would you say that sitting here today, you have more wisdom than you did, 10, 20 years ago?
1,000,000,000 times more
Exactly.
because of the challenges and the growth and the
Exactly.
wisdom.
And
Yeah.
I didn't pay her to say that because that's
No.
exactly what I needed from her. So haven't we all gone through things? Yes. Uh, the way life seems to work, the way it seems to be put together, like if I was teaching you how to make a ham sandwich right now, the way life seems to work is that we do learn things, but generally we learn things through adversity. I'm laughing. I shouldn't be because adversity can be pretty tough, let me tell you. And we have, Audrey mentioned it, for the last 6 years, we started something called Happy You. Everything we do is free. Everything we do is free. We have a teleconference on Monday nights for 2 hours. And you may think 2 hours on the phone is a long time. Yesterday we had to go over because everybody loved it. We have three people that started on Happy You in a week. It'll be March, 6 years ago. Those three people are still on Happy You every Monday, every week. I think it's unbelievable. So they don't understand how every week we always have interesting things that are compelling and fascinating and useful. But when it comes to being useful, information is only good if you think it's useful, if you think it's of value. So I'm going to share my experiences, what I've learned. I told you I love you. I mean that more than you know. In fact, don't take I love you personally. I love everyone now. It makes me live in the state of mind that I love to live in. I love everyone. Doesn't mean I always agree or like what they're doing, but I love everyone. It frees me. I love freedom. And I do care about you more than you'll ever know. But here's what I'm going to say very gently. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm presenting it with a little bit of ice cream and syrup to you. I don't care what you think. If I cared what you think, I would be here to control you and tell you do it my way. I know better. I've been through this, or anything that people say. No, I love you. I love the subject matter. I love my experiences, and I share those with you. But you decide what's good for you. Who am I to say to you, this is of value? Only you can determine that. So with that premise, let me go on with some of the things that I've learned. I've learned that, yes, there are problems. I learned that with happiness, that I had a problem and, I wanted to hold on to happiness, and I have for all these years. In fact, in 1999, I taught happiness at Sacred Heart University for about 4 years. And that's how the Happiness Club started. The very first class in the fall of 99, the class said, could we keep meeting? Because we didn't know, we thought we were going to learn about happiness. We didn't know we were going to become happier. And I said, I would love to meet with you. That's how the Happiness Club began. And the point I'm making is, as we go along with this strategy, I've learned that, okay, I have a problem, and I was in business at the time, and I'm happy, and now I'm not happy I have the problem. But what I started learning is I may not be happy I have the problem, but I'm not going to lose my happiness to a problem. Why? Because I learned from experience that if I don't lose my happiness, then I'm better able and better equipped to deal with the problem, right? I'm in a calm, peaceful, higher state of mind, and I'm able to connect with the solution better. I'm not obsessing about the negativity so. Can you imagine if you have a problem, which every day life presents problems, and you become less than happy about it? You become depressed. You're angry. Whatever reaction you have, negative, it shouldn't have happened, blame someone, whatever the case might be. you're putting yourself in a position mentally to be less effective in finding the solution or the choice that you could find. Your mind isn't going to be aware that there is a choice available. And so choices become very important. One of the things that I had come up with in my book I wrote back in '88 was happiness is a decision. And it's important for you to, I mean, you get married. I've been married. It's going to be 56 years this year. So I'm married. That was a decision I made back in September 7th, 1968. And of course, I made the decision to be married, and I've been married. She's the best wife I've ever had, the only wife I've ever had. And but you have to choose to be married after you've decided to be married. You know, you have the wedding and all. So we don't because why? Yes, happiness is a choice. Yes, but you know something? Uh, unless you're aware of a choice, you can't make it because it's beyond your awareness. It's removed. That's one of the things with a problem. When you have a problem and you're not aware that you could choose happiness, you don't choose it. And then what you do is you take the problem and you add a layer of unhappiness to it. And all you do is you stare at your unhappiness. At least if you can get rid of your unhappiness, you know what you just did? You got rid of half your problems. So if you keep treating problems with unhappiness, it's like Abraham Maslow said, if you treat every problem, if you look at every problem as a nail, the only tool you have is a hammer. We're giving you more tools. Happiness is a tool. In fact, on Happy You, we have filled the toolbox with power tools. You know that acceptance is a power tool, gratitude's a power tool, forgiveness is a power tool. These are power tools. They're really powerful. And the point I'm making is this power can work through us. So there's not just benefits to happiness, there's the power of happiness. And I'm going to share another story. Well, let me back up for a moment before I share this with you. Life can be difficult. And there's a couple of things that are running through my mind and to share with you. I'm excited. You don't know how excited I am to share this stuff with you. Why? Because it really helped me. It really did. So it'll be you may see the value and you may not, but that's up to you. I I did look at problems. Oh no, I got to deal with this. And I like to get rid of problems so I can get back to peace and happiness because that's where I like to live. But there's always something. There's always something. And I stopped looking at things as problems, and I went to look at things for a brief time as challenges because that was more fun for me. It was like, all right, I got to go climb this mountain. So I'm all packed and I'm off. Then I conceived of the idea of not just looking at a problem as a challenge, but I came up with, you might say, a radical outlook on problems. And my outlook was a gift, a gift. So my quadruple heart surgery was a gift, cancer treatments, or everything in my life is a gift. I'm no longer torn between this is good, this is bad. What does that mean? It means I use a two-step method. I'll go to step 2 first. All of us don't know what to do when a situation arises. I don't care how smart you are. When it happens to you, immediately you really don't know what to do for sure, especially if it's something new. Like when they tell me you got to go to Bridgeport Hospital, they're waiting for you, don't eat anything, get there immediately. I don't know what to do with that. um, so that's step 2. I don't know what to do. And you would think, um, how does that fit into solving a problem? Step two. Well, I'll tell you, because everybody who has issues and can't solve problems makes that step two, step one. They have a problem. The first thing they tell themselves is, I don't know what to do. Of course, you don't know what to do. You have to go to someone who can help you. You have to do this, you have to do that. But what is step one? And spiritually, this is an important step, as well as physically, and when we confront the serious things that we have all gone through in life, and that is that we must say to ourselves, or we can say to ourselves, we don't have to should on ourselves. We don't have to do that. But we can say to ourselves, I can handle this. I may not know how, and I don't know how. But once you tell yourself you can handle it, do you know what starts happening? People come to you. Things happen that are, the universe conspires to help you because you said, I can. I don't know how, but I can. That's all it takes. And it is amazing. The thing I also want to share with you is, my website, if I may, is happinessclub.com. Everything on there is free. Every speaker we've had is a 2-hour recording is on the first page of the website. You can look up, you could see Audrey come and talk to the group years ago. But the reason I bring that up is because we have an inner peace practice that I created that I absolutely used when I had to go for open heart surgery. So, excuse me one moment.
Call from Lionel Ketchian.
Glenn, I'm on a conference call. I want to call you back later. Okay, sorry, that's my son. So, and if I can interject, what just happened now is a little unusual to take a phone call. But here's the thing, that's called life. And I think there's a good example here that we can't control things, can we? So when you accept them joyfully, they're wonderful. Like, it only matters if you think it matters. And if you think somebody else thinks it matters. But, what you think is none of my business. I got through that. I love you. I care about you. And I love the subject. And I love sharing it. But let me go back to when I was admitted and I was in the hospital for 10 days, I said to myself, well, I'm going to I went through a 7-hour operation. I never went through anything like that before. And so I just decided that I want to have an experience of, I want to have the best experience, not humanly possible. Because I don't think what I experienced was human. And what I experienced was, I stayed in the moment. Those of you who might be reading Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, or Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, being in the present moment and not engaging my thought. Because when you're in the moment, there is no thought. Once you start thinking, you're out of the moment. So I didn't put the television on. 8 o'clock, family had to leave. I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to believe it, but it's the truth. So it's up to you what you think. That 10 days in the hospital, before and after, were the best days of my life. I've never had a better time in my life. I made more than the best of everything. I felt I was on a vacation, and I felt that everything was just went perfectly, and I was in joyful, not only, and I will introduce this part to you, I wasn't just in joyful acceptance, because I had gone beyond that before this event, thank goodness. And what I was practicing was surrender. And surrender, when I first came across the word, was a word that sounded like, wave the white flags. I surrender, I give up. That's not surrender. Not in the way I'm using it. Surrender is a suggestion in spirituality to surrender. And what I was surrendering to was a higher power. Surrendering to God, you could surrender to the intelligence in the universe, the goodness of the universe, whatever conception you have. And when I surrender like that, I can give it over and not be concerned about it and know that the best is happening. Unfortunately, our ego minds that we sort of created as a kid to deal with life when we couldn't understand it then, not that we understand it all that much better now, was created to protect us. But in trying to protect us, it's a little bit over the top. It creates problems. And so I like feeling protected without me having to worry about everything I need to protect myself from. And when I accept things and when I surrender, then I live in a completely different state of mind. And I am more able to deal with what happens than before. I'll give you another example, and then maybe we could take some. Do you have conversation during these things? If anyone has
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So I had a great surgeon, Dr. Dewar, and at Bridgeport Hospital. And he came up to the room. He said, I'm coming up to just see you and have any questions. My wife and my son was there, the one who just called now. I have two sons and a daughter. And they're sitting there, and he mentioned, what he's going to do, and ask any questions. My wife had questions. My son had questions. And he looks at me and he says, you have any questions? I said, yeah. So remember, I'm in total bliss. I'm happy. I'm peaceful. And I said to him, yeah, when you take my heart out, could you please find a place where you could put it, where in case you need to put it back, you'll know where it is and we won't be looking for it. So with that, he ends up telling me a couple of funny things. We spent 5 minutes back and forth joking around. I looked at my son's face and he was horrified. Like, what are you doing, Dad? You're going to have open surgery and you think it's funny. Yes, I did think it was funny, and I created the most wonderful time I ever had. As a matter of fact, he told me a joke right before he put me under. When I woke up, he told me a joke. Every morning I saw him for 10 days. Jokes. I'll tell you, that was a great way to go through that situation. And I created it. I didn't allow something I have no control over, something that's external to me. So happiness or even peace is unconditional. We must give it to ourselves. It has to come from us. And that's what created my experience. Now, you ask, Lionel, couldn't you at least come up with some sensible question to ask him? Well, let me put it to you this way. Imagine you're getting on an airplane, okay? And the pilot comes over to you and says, do you have any questions for me before I fly you to, Florida? And no, I just tell him a joke. He tells me a joke, and then he flies me to Florida. What do I know about being an airplane pilot? What do I know about being a surgeon? We picked a good one. I let it go. I let it go. Those are 3 words. Let it go.
Yep.
If you want safety, if you want wisdom to follow you through your whole life, let it go. Now, I started talking about wisdom, and what I want to share with you is, yes, unfortunately, adversity and suffering creates wisdom if we handle our situations in a way where we're better, not bitter. Like Audrey, what she's done with her life is certainly an example of not being bitter, but being better and helping others. which is what I found. Another secret to happiness is helping other people. As much as you can help another person. You have to help them help themselves if they choose to, But I'm telling you that since I've gone through so many things in life, as you each have, all of us, do we look at the idea that we're so much better off? We're so much better off. And yes, there could have been pain, there could have been suffering, there could be a lot of things, and it could still be happening. I will say this, understand, yes, life is different. It is different after we go through these things. It is complete, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking with the things we can't change. Really, if we don't know how to deal with those things, then those things that we can't change will change us. And my thought for now, and then we could open this up for discussion, is life is difficult. Do you really want to make it harder on yourself? I don't. I love you, and I don't want to make it harder on you. Suffering is valuable, but you can get that wisdom without suffering as well. So that's strictly up to you. So let me rest for a moment. I don't need rest. I get all pumped up with this stuff, but I want to rest and open this up, if I may. I would love to hear from you. Anything you want to ask. And, tapping is a wonderful way to, relieve stress and have your unconscious meet the challenge. That's excellent. And it's available. YouTube's got 1 million views on how to do that. Marlene, if what you're saying works for you, more information, fine. That's fine. One of the things that I'm going to say here is in terms of letting go, it's really relaxing and releasing. Now, if the information you're receiving doesn't help relax you, it's going to be harder for you to let go. Relaxing and releasing is pretty much the only way to let something go. And what we're also saying is, what are we letting go? We're letting go of this thought in our mind, a voice in our head that is going to get in there like drill into your head and just keep pumping you 60, 80,000 times a day with possibly a negative thought. That's the danger. The danger is more internal than external because, in the Bible, it says that which I most greatly feared has come to pass. Fear and happiness are on different sides of the spectrum, and so is fear and peace. So to allow fear into our lives, if it'll help guide us, fine. But it can be a great enemy or a great learning experience. It's up to us to learn from these things and not follow our thoughts because here's the thing that I'm going to say to you. This is spirituality in action, really. Meditation doesn't require a thought. If you're thinking, you're not meditating. And I'm talking about an aspect of meditation here, living life, using your mind, but not letting it use you. There's no room for that. It's just not allowed in this too, because I think you just described in perfection what I was trying to convey that we can all do. And you said you just sort of didn't get caught up in it. I think that's wonderful. And thanks for bringing up the last thing you said, or close to the last thing. Very important. And I want to put it in my words. Happiness is don't give your power away. Once you have happiness, and that's the real benefit of happiness. You have power. So when someone annoys you, and you get unhappy, you just given them your power and they're going to use it on you. An illness happens. You've given it your power. So we have choices here. And I think you've found out in life that you're stronger than you ever knew. And you only realize strength through adversity. I'm telling you, there's no other way. I could spot people that are smart, and then I know they've been through something, because you don't just get that. It isn't just handed out because you buy a bag of candy. It handed out because you've earned it. And I don't know, it's almost like God taps you on the shoulder and says, listen, it's time for you to learn something. And that's why I consider everything a gift, because there's something for me to learn there. So it truly is a gift, even if I don't know what it is. I'm grateful for it, and I totally responsible for it, and I use it and benefit myself with it. So that's worked for me.
Lionel, I'm going to just interject. Janet Cole has her hand up, and then we're going to go to Naomi. So Janet, if it's okay, Lionel, we're going to have her ask you a question.
And then Joan has her hand for that.
Absolutely. Just quickly, I've done I was a co-host on a radio show with Dr. Bernie Siegel. So Audrey and I both learned a lot from Bernie. And one of the things Bernie suggested I do about 4 years ago, I had a prostate removal for cancer. And he said, when you go in, when the surgeon, you're going in for the operation, before you do it, tell your body to move all the blood away from the operating area. This way, you don't need a transfusion. The area is clear and clean, and the surgeon can see what he's doing and not cut the wrong things. I said, okay. And I didn't even tell the surgeon I was doing this, but he was a friend of my son. And the next morning, the surgeon comes over and says, you know that thing you did about moving he said, it worked. So that's strange. We don't usually hear of things like that. But before I went into the operation with open heart, I said to myself, I'm not going to need painkiller. And on the second day, they had all the medications, and I said, I'm not going to use them. I don't have pain right now. They said, yeah, but you will, and and then it gets worse. They had all kinds of stories, and I just said, well, all right, if I need them, I'll let you know. I never needed them. But I told myself I'm not going to need them. So again, watch what you're telling yourself, because it listens. Your body listens. Your subconscious is listening, but you're in charge. Don't think you're not.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. So I think Naomi had her hand up next. And then we have Joan and then Rhonda.
Here's the thing. Our thoughts, even if they're unconscious or subconscious or other than conscious or whatever way you want to look at it, trigger our emotions. So I don't give that a chance. That's why the inner peace practice that I created eliminates that, because it's the thoughts that we're letting in. And when we become, spirituality is all about awareness, mindfulness. And we all know about that stuff now, right? But to make mindfulness a practice within our own lives, you've all, because of what you've been through, have an opportunity to become more mindful. That's really what we're talking about. What do you think wisdom is? It's being mindful of things. And I also want to say, Naomi, when I got out of radiation last year in March, in around April, I just wasn't feeling right. I was feeling tired. I was just not right. And I went to my cardiologist. He sent me all over the place, gave me stress tests, everything. Nothing, they couldn't find anything. And in October, in the morning, I went to Yale and I did some other kind of test they had me do. And that's when they found out you got 95% blockages in all 4 arteries. And I said, can I eat dinner? No, you could die. Just get there now. I said, okay, I'm on my way. So I was glad that they found it, because I've been looking for I know something's wrong. So Naomi, you were doubting what you were sharing with us. What you were sharing with us is perfect. You know what I would say to you and to all of us? Don't doubt yourself. You know yourself better than anyone, really. I look at you, I have no doubt that you're telling 100% the truth. And as far as learning to trust ourselves with our mind, that's part of it. we need to build a self-confidence to know that we have the answers. I was on a medication that pretty much made me a zombie for 2 months afterwards. And when I finally realized it, I told the doctor, either I'm getting off all my meds or you're going to find this one that's causing me a problem and I'm not going to be on it, because it was horrible. So we have to look at the medical profession, the experts and so forth, but don't count yourself out. Not only are you powerful, but the wisdom that we've gained, we didn't get to this age, all of it. I'm not calling you old. I'll call myself old, but we didn't get to this age without learning a lot. So the last thing I'll say on that is you can Google any information, pick up your phone, you Google it. But there is something called a me search. You look within for the answer and trust yourself. It'll be there. It's beautiful. You're all beautiful. And we just need to allow ourselves, faith begins within us. Make a home for it. Have faith in yourself. And the universe will conspire to give you everything you could ever possibly need. And I love you.
Thank you, Lionel.
Hear you. And boy, this group has really brought up some very deep questions. I give you a lot of credit for this. This isn't, nobody can give you a good answer in 5 minutes on that one. But here's what I would say. I always like to express my own experiences because, they're real for me. Again, you may find value in them, maybe you don't. But this is what I thought. When I had to go in for that surgery, I knew what I was dealing with. I could die. I knew that. And I had that little talk with myself. I don't want to live in fear. And I'll tell you why I figured that out. I'd rather live in happiness, because no matter how long I have, whether it's the night before surgery or 15 more years or whatever the case might be, I want to live those years being happy, not being afraid, because fear will suck everything out of your life and leave you with nothing. So you're only choosing death when you allow fear in. Now, how much control over that do we have? Well, it depends what we say to ourselves. What I said to myself is, I said, I could die. And then I thought, I'm completely wrong about that. I'm wrong about that statement. I could die. I am going to die. I got news for all of us. We're going to die. Now that that's said and done, you can get it over with. How do you choose to live your life now that you know you're going to die? It may make a big difference, because once you make friends with death, it's all over. Then you realize, why waste a moment of your life? Because that's all you have. What are you giving your life away to? In fact, if you said to yourself, I would be happy if I didn't have cancer, then just be happy with cancer. And you've made it. It is you know how fear is created, and then I don't want to take too much time, but spiritually speaking, the reason we have fear, Joan, I'm going to give you the answer. It'll be up to you to see if it's useful and applicable for you. But this is a real answer now. Okay. The reason we have fear is because we have desire. We want something. I never went to that, I want this, I want that. I don't play around with the outcome. I told you I surrender. For me, that worked, because I can let it go and say, okay, here it is, you handle it. And that's why I don't say to myself, I want this to happen, or I want, like, for example, I'm here with people that I love, and now you're not, you're friends of mine now. Now you're not strangers. You're my family, okay? And you may think I want to come here and feel that I've done a good job. And I don't have desires. I have gratitude for everything I experience in my life. I allow anything to happen. I will learn from anything. As soon as I eliminate all desire, all preferences, all wants, there's no more fear. So we are creating fear by wanting something to happen or comparing it. You know, you compared this situation to another one because you want this to be better than the other one. As soon as you want anything, you're now living in fear. And let me tell you about life, and then I'll stop talking about this
Because
particular.
it's almost 1 o'clock, Lionel.
I hear you. So in life, if you get what you want, you'll be unhappy. And if you don't get what you want, you'll be unhappy. Why? Because when you don't get what you want, you think, unless I get it, I'm not going to be happy. And when you get what you want, you live in fear that you may lose it. So you overcome cancer and then you live in fear that it may happen again. Fear cannot be eradicated that way. So anyway, I want to present that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Did we have time to get Rhonda in for a quickie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, let it go becomes even more important there. You're not a kid anymore, right?
Yeah.
You'll look young, but I don't think you're still a kid living at home with your parents. And that's a part of ourselves that we don't, all it is a story. If you're going to have stories, you're going to be unhappy. And another thing, another easy way to be unhappy is to judge things. I don't judge anything anymore, and I can't be unhappy. So those are two ways. It sounds easy. I know it's not, but at least we have something we can hold on to and try out. I love you. I love all of us. I love us.
This has been amazing, Lionel. So much wisdom, and for many of us, our heads are spinning with so much that we've learned and are applying. And I'm so grateful everybody was able to benefit from having you. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, not just to Lionel and to Audrey, but to everyone. I've noticed that these sessions really, your talk was sort of a jumping off point, Lionel, for making people feel vulnerable enough and comfortable to share. And, by you sharing so much about your personal story and, your perspective, I think it's been really, really an amazing experience. And so we are so grateful to you. And there were some really interesting, we didn't have time to read them out loud, but there's some really interesting comments in the chat. And for anyone who'd like additional resources, please just reach out to me directly. You can use the main Woman to Woman email address or the rachel.justice one, and I'd be happy to connect you, via Audrey, via Lionel, or any other resources we have through Woman to Woman, because this is really the goal of this, is to get you thinking, not just for this hour, but about how ongoing you can make the types of shifts and changes, and attitude adjustments, that we've been talking about. So thank you so much for all being part of this really special hour that we spent together. We are immensely grateful to you, Lionel, for sharing your wisdom with us. It has been a treat, to say the least. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Before we just all leave, just a reminder that a lot of what Lionel's happiness clubs, the resources are free and open to everybody on Zoom, and there's a number of them during the week and every month. And go to thehappinessclub.com and reach out to Lionel. He makes himself accessible. Reach out to me. Anyone who needs whatever, we will find the resources for you in the event that I don't have them. So in the words of Lionel Ketchian, love us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.